2 strips of fabric, place them one on top of the other, fold the top over a little bit, and with a smallish pair of scissors but sharp, just cut a small slit on the fold, enough to be able to poke your finger through it. Then you separate them, put your finger through that hole, lay the other one on top, oops, it's getting breezy, lay the other one on top, so they're running in a continuous strip. Bring the bottom of the top one, the end, let's call it the end, bring the end up and through that slit where you've had your fingers, and while you're doing that just keep your finger there to hold this corner in place so it doesn't get pulled through. And there we are, just tug it up sharply and there it is. So I'll do another one now. Well, I might as well do it to that end because I'm going to have to undo them anyway. It'll make an incredibly long working yarn. Right, so there we are, one on top of the other, fold it over. It doesn't matter how much because your splice is going to lay one across the other.
So just big enough to poke your finger through.
That's right.
So your finger acts as a pin to hold them together whilst
that's right, or a button.
Yeah,
you
button.
know, it's rather like a buttonhole, isn't it? So then you take one, lay it on top of the other so they're running in a continuous line. Haha, deliberate error. Now I've got an end. Snip that bit off. Now I've got an end that I can bring up and under. So it's the end of the top yarn, top strip, comes up underneath from the bottom.
Very simple, very clever.
Very clever. So make sure that you don't make your slit too near to the end of the strip. Let's do that again, shall we? I suppose that'll be an outtake, will it?
That'll be an outtake. You will. We'll cut that out.
Yes, yes, I've heard that before. Okay, so one on top of the other, 2 pieces, one on top of the other. Keep the slit on the fold, not too near the end, as I did with the last one. Put the button through, lay the other one on top, so it's in a continuous run. Bring the end up from underneath and through. And you see they lay one against the other, and when you're weaving those you'll be able to determine and hide that behind the warp, so don't worry about that, it won't be seen. And it's the same if you do it with a t-shirt.
That was going to be my next question. What happens if you want to warp the frame with longer than pieces than the circular knit of the t-shirt?
You make a yarn from it.
You make a yarn from it.
Yes, and here I'm using a pair of shears because it's a much thicker fabric. Always more difficult to cut t-shirt, jersey fabrics. But same principle, make a buttonhole, lay one over the other, bring the end of the top one up and through. And you can splice as you go along when you're warping, or you can put several together and make a ball of yarn. I don't like that method.
But you don't need a shuttle anyway to...
No, you don't need a shuttle. Having said that though, with the Salish loom, it doesn't mean to say you can't use a shuttle. You can. And we have some sisal, don't we?
We do, yes.
That we're going to make a runner with, and for that I will need a shuttle. I think it'll be too much for me to thread it through by hand.